Police announce investigations into killing of Hanuabada youths. Public outcry following the assault on a group of women by police. And Chief Secretary convenes special meeting to address unruly behaviour.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
Good evening and welcome. This is Monday's news. Thanks for your company. Police Commissioner Jeffrey Vaki says an investigation team is already set up to investigate the killing of 2 Hanuabada youths last Friday. Commissioner Vaki assured the villagers that police will fully investigate the incident and the officer found responsible will be suspended. He also appealed to the people to clear the roadblock leading to the LNG processing site and the Puma Energy refinery.
Last Friday, 2 youths from Hanuabada village, just next to the police headquarters in Konidobu, were killed during a police raid. How the incident started is still unclear, but locals claimed it started after policemen entered the village trying to dispatch betel nut vendors. The aftermath of the raid and the death of the 2 men has resulted in the main road leading to the LNG processing site and the Puma Energy refinery being blocked off by angry villagers. It's been 4 days since the incident, but today Police Chief Jeffrey Vaki says an investigation team has already been set up to investigate the incident and he is requesting the people to come forward with their stories.
The assurance from my office is that there will be an immediate investigation conducted into the alleged shooting. Otherwise, this team here, investigation is on now, and I can assure you, members of the press.
Mr. Vaki says the police hierarchy is not turning a blind eye on such actions of the police officers, and he assures the people that those found responsible will be suspended from duty.
And if they are identified, the normal procedure, ladies and gentlemen, is they are suspended forthwith, and they will then be interviewed by the investigation team.
He appealed to the Hanuabada people to clear the road and allow traffic to continue whilst the police investigation runs its course. Meanwhile, some businesses in the city are raising concerns that the incident has affected their operations. One airline company says they are facing difficulty getting aviation fuel from Puma Energy refinery because the road is inaccessible. Quinton Alomp, National EMTV News.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill says the government will consider policy elements relating to the buai ban in the city. Mr. O'Neill said there are policy elements that have to be addressed and clarified. The Prime Minister said he will further advance the prospect of declared buai areas in discussion with NCD Governor Powis Parker. Mr. O'Neill made these statements following the shooting of 2 men in Hanuabada village last Friday. He extended the nation's sympathies to the families of the 2 men. He said an independent police investigation must be carried out and justice must be served. Now, our story on the sexual assault on a group of women by some police officers in Port Moresby at the weekend has attracted numerous comments from social media, particularly Facebook. The comments expressed anger, frustration and a call for immediate action on rogue police officers by the hierarchy.
The story was initially published on EMTV's online Facebook page with the headline "Female Vendors Sexually Assaulted Yesterday." It was later shared to PNG News, a closed group page which attracted close to 200 comments and almost 300 likes from Facebook users around the country. Much emphasis was stressed on the ill manners of police officers, and many said they have lost trust. They also called on the police hierarchy to take quick disciplinary actions against those who abuse their authority. However, a respectable member of the constabulary commented saying all officers who are found to have broken the law while acting as law enforcers are submitted to an internal investigation. He said those found guilty will face serious disciplinary charges, sent to criminal prosecution, and will be jailed. Meanwhile, the constabulary is encouraging citizens to report such methods at police stations so that case can be investigated and narrowed down to find those involved. The police hierarchy is asking the public to remember little details like the plate numbers of the vehicle used or the number of officers involved if they are subjected to such behavior, so it can be used for identification during investigations. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Police Commissioner Jeffrey Vaki has directed all police personnel in the country to undergo refresher courses. In the news conference today, he said the constabulary lacks command and control, and this is leading to ill-disciplined behavior of the police.
All regular policemen and women will undergo the refresher course to get more training on behavior change and rules of engagement on the use of weapons. He said this after the recent reports of police brutality actions on civilians. Mr. Vaki blamed this fall down as a result of lacking command, control and strict supervision by commanding officers.
There is lack of command and control at NCO level and officer level in patrol cars or on the street. That's why the Commissioner is reinforcing and advising the press that there needs to be a lot of command and control, which means that we've got to put men and women back in the classroom again and reinforce training leads to self-discipline and discipline and use of arms.
With the public's outcry of police brutality and the use of firearm, Commissioner Vaki clarified that the use of arms is very specific.
You got batons, you got your hands to arrest people, and if your life is in danger as specified, where death or grievous bodily harm is imminent, then you can use weapons.
Police personnel are taught and trained on its procedures on weapon handling, when, where, how and who to shoot, and what circumstances they are allowed to open fire or shoot the target. He stated that no regular policemen and women are allowed to shoot unless they get commands from their commanders or team leader.
The NCOs and the officers that are with them on the front line are to exercise absolute strict command and control on the use of arms, so that we don't have people just becoming trigger happy and firing here and there.
Meanwhile, the only weapons police are allowed to carry around and use are gas gun, M16A2, and all forms of pistol. However, he said the best weapon for them to use is their God-given mouth and hands. Adding on, reservist police are not allowed to use gun or even carry guns around. Shockingly, he said due to lack of manpower, police presence is absent to prevent crime activities. According to United Nations Code, there should be 400 police officers looking after 1,000 people. However, in PNG, only one police officer is looking after 1,000 people. However, this won't stop the Commissioner from doing some in-house cleansing. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Member for Kikori, Mark Maipakai, has also expressed disgust over the shooting incident at Hanuabada village that claimed the lives of 2 people. Mr. Maipakai has joined the call for city authorities to take action. Member for Karama, Richard Mandani, also condemned the killings, saying the government needs to restructure how disciplinary forces are administered.
Papuans have sold everything away in this city to make city to be what it is today. Have some respect for the Motuans and the Koitabuans. These innocent little people trying to make ends. And if Pirunat is the main cash crop, allow them. They've given away their land. For all sort of people to come and make living out of this city.
A special National Security Advisory Council meeting will be convened immediately to discuss and address continued unaccepted police behavior in the country. Chief Secretary to the government, Sir Manasupe Zurino, made this clear while condemning the alleged shooting and killings at Hanuabada village recently. He has called on the police hierarchy to look into the matter and other related incidents by the police around the country.
The recent killings at Hanuabada village are one of many faces of police brutality. Around the country, citizens are voicing concerns over this unacceptable behavior by police. Chief Secretary Sir Manasupe Zurino in a statement condemned the alleged killing of the 2 men at Hanuabada last Friday. Sir Manasupe said it has become a common trend by certain unruly police personnel to overlook the constabulary standing orders while executing their duties. The discharging of firearms is a serious breach of the standing orders. Sir Manasupe conveyed his condolences to the families of the deceased. He has called on the police hierarchy, especially the Commissioner Jeffrey Vaki, to address the unethical behavior in the police force. The Department of Prime Minister and National Executive Council is willing to assist the committee set up by the people of Hanuabada to deal with this issue. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
And in more news ahead, Treasury Minister gives an update on the Highlands Highway and plans underway for the Sepik Plains Economic Zone. Details after the break. Stay with us. Thanks for your company and welcome back to the news. Treasury Minister Patrick Pruitt says the state of emergency for the Highlands Highway is on track and the government will release additional funding if there is a need. The Treasurer was in Chuave, which will become an area for the state of emergency in the coming months.
The Chimbu section of the Highlands Highway is a big concern for the national government. It's where a lot of disruptions have happened to roadworks. With the recent declaration of the state of emergency by the Prime Minister, it has drawn attention to sections that have been long neglected due to landowner issues. Treasury Minister Patrick Pruitt, who was in Simbu at the weekend, has reaffirmed the national government's move, saying money has been made available for the operation.
Well, there is sufficient funding in Department of Works that we can immediately use.
Last week, the Prime Minister reiterated the need for more attention to the Highlands Highway, especially to sections that are crumbling due to weather and lack of maintenance.
If it is a desire of government and consistent with the call made by the Prime Minister, yes, the government will do that.
The state of emergency will involve the deployment of army engineers and additional police to ensure roadworks meet required standards and deadlines. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Leh.
Meanwhile, the Treasury Minister Patrick Pruitt says it is too early for the government to say if the drop in oil prices will affect the government's cash flow. The Treasurer says a review will be conducted in March to assess the impact before any measures can be implemented to cover for possible budget pressures. Analysts, meanwhile, say the slump in oil prices will trigger a drop in export revenue for oil-producing countries, including Papua New Guinea.
If there is a need for us to look at measures to align as a result of dropping commodity prices, we will do that. But in anything, it's a cycle thing where when the oil prices drop, at some stage it will come up. The question is when it will reverse the trend, so we are watching closely.
The Sepik Plains Economic Zone is set to kick off after intense negotiations between the government and foreign investors. A number of different foreign investors have expressed keen interest to enter into a joint venture with the national government to develop oil palm and other crops in the Sepik Plains. Minister for Trade, Commerce and Industry, Richard Maru, said the Independent Public Business Corporation, or IPBC, holds the state's shares.
Shouldn't lie to people.
At a recent media conference, Minister for Trade, Commerce and Industry and member for Yanguru Sausia, Richard Maru, said feasibility studies are progressing well. He expects that heads of agreements and physical work on the new economic projects in the economic zone will commence this year.
I'm very thankful to the PM and to Cabinet for their support. This year we are very definite we are going to have investors on the ground and we'll start to see the projects going. And our people have been waiting for that. Our province has been waiting for that. This country has been waiting for that. And I think we are very, very close. We're reaching a very exciting phase in major negotiations.
The minister also confirmed that negotiations with Wilmar International Limited has stopped because the government cannot agree to the concessions the previous contractor, Wilmar International, was seeking. The IPBC holds the state's shares through the Sepik Agro Industries Limited, which will hold shares in any joint venture investment in the Sepik Plains. The state will be taking up 30% in each project. In the meantime, Yanguru Sausia district has begun preparing for the economic zone and its impacts, building roads and investing in electricity and law and order.
We're quite excited about some of the investors that are coming. They are world-class investors with world-class technology and expertise and know-how and capital. So we are really looking forward to some very big projects taking off in the Sepik, which has been dead all these years and finally will come to life.
While the government is developing the Sepik economic zone, It is also in the early stages of developing similar agriculture-based special economic zones in the Baya River, Gulf Province and Western Provinces. Delhi Bagu, National MTV News.
Chuave MP Wera Mori says the government should focus on the country's renewables sector. Mr. Mori named the SME sector as a launchpad for many Papua New Guineans living through a subsistence lifestyle. The Treasury Minister, Patrick Pruach, has also reaffirmed the national government's plan to support the SME, calling it a policy with value. The announcements were made in Chuave in the Simbu province during the commission of a new rural road last Friday.
Chuave in the Simbu province shares a provincial boundary with Eastern Highlands province. It offers exotic views from the Elimbari range. The island's highway cuts through the district. A large population of the people are living next to the highway and have easy access to the readily government services at Chuave government station. An even larger population is in the interior, where there is relatively good land for crop cultivation. Good road infrastructure is what has been lacking over the years. The people rely on coffee farming and gardening for an income. The district is now planning to develop an economy that centers around human resource development and agriculture. On Friday last week, Wera Mori, the Chuave MP, announced the district's plan to support the agriculture sector through the SME.
The approach we take is to directly empower our people by providing seed capital. Last year we rolled out close to 1 million kina and we had 65% success.
He is also asking for a rural-based focus where priority is given to the bulk of the population living in the remote interior with limited road access.
I come from a very rural electorate, and it's very difficult for, if I put money into the bank and ask people to go and borrow, definitely, they'll be out of the equation. Because
the Treasury Minister, Patrick Pruach, who accompanied the Chuave MP, has announced the national government's intention to support small businesses in the country.
The biggest challenge for us as a country is working together, getting the public service machinery to align themselves with the political leadership.
In recent years, much of the attention has been given to the non-renewable sector, such as the LNG in the Hela province. The Treasurer says equal focus will also be given to the renewable sector to support the non-mineral rich areas of the country, so that when the PNG economy grows, they too grow with it. Edwin Fidelis, National MTV News.
And now we take a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3835 in the interbank market, and at Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.376 $0.4729 Australian dollars, $0.3342 euro, and 43.79 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, coffee closed higher, gold, cocoa and copper closed lower. Palm oil, crude oil and copper all closed lower. And finally on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 141 points lower, the ASX closed at 19 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 0 points unchanged. And still to come on National MTV News tonight, Indian community in PNG marks 66 years of independence, and Bulolo MP Sam Basil raises concerns on West Papua's fight for independence. Stay with us for the details. Good to have you back with the news. Indian families in Port Moresby have joined their countrymen in celebrating the 66th Indian Republican Day. In a small gathering today, professional Indians working in various organizations in Port Moresby gathered at the High Commission and witnessed the unfurling of the Indian flag.
Today marks over 6 decades of Indians' transition from a colony into a constitution. On this day every year, Indians all over the world come together to both celebrate India's national sovereignty and to remember the lives lost in their struggle for freedom from British control.
Under Mahatma Gandhi's moral and political leadership, the National Congress passed the Pool Swaraj resolution demanding complete independence from British rule in December 1929.
To signify the Indian Day today, Indian High Commissioner to PNG, Medava Chandra, unfurled the India flag to signal their National Day celebrations. It then followed with the Indian national anthem. High Commissioner Chandra, when reading out the message from the US President Barack Obama, who was the chief guest at the Indian National Day celebrations in India today, emphasized on raising the quality of life for Indians.
Our national ambition is to raise the quality of life of Indians by quantum leaps and raising generations enlightened by learning, patriotism, compassion, honesty, and a sense of duty.
This is the second time the National Day was celebrated in the High Commission's premises and attracted Indian families living in Port Moresby. Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
Deputy Opposition Leader Sam Basil has called on politicians in the middle bench and the opposition to treat the West Papua issue with caution. It comes after several politicians, including Oro Governor Gary Juffa, announced their support for the West Papua movement. Basil says politicians must be aware that their actions may affect the country's relationship with Indonesia.
While West Papua continues to look toward the West for support, outspoken Papua New Guinean politicians have already pledged their support toward the cause. Members in the opposition and the middle bench have taken their stance, while the National Executive Council remains tightly.
So the Prime Minister must make an official statement and the NEC must take ownership of this issue. They must not allow us, other members of Parliament, take this issue and kick it like a football.
Deputy Opposition Leader Sam Basil has warned the backbenchers and members of the opposition that their actions need to be prudent to avoid confrontations.
It can lead to war, it can lead to confrontations, and it can lead to many more lives from our border being harassed or being lost.
He has called on the National Executive Council to make clear their intentions through diplomacy with Indonesia. Sam Basil is concerned about the safety of Papua New Guineans along the border.
And if those claims are true of the graphics of people being murdered, and I believe it is true because the recent incursion in Bewani proves that Indonesians do not respect Papua New Guinea and the Melanesian brothers.
Last week, Oro Governor Gary Juffa pledged his support toward West Papua's freedom, saying that he will take a petition to Parliament next month.
We took a petition. In one day, we've already recorded almost 1,000 signatures. It's a worldwide petition and it's online.
But at least we want the Prime Minister to say something, even drag it into the United Nations Assembly to talk about these issues, because we cannot sweep it under the carpet.
The Deputy Opposition Leader has called for a response from NEC and for the United Nations to handle the issue. Bethany Harriman, National MTV News, Lae.
The rise in sexual offences in Southern Highlands has prompted the establishment of a sexual violence family unit in Mendi Town. Mendi Police Station Commander Peter Booker says the office will be a safe house for victims and for police to deal with cases in the province.
Sexual violence and abuse in Southern Islands has been on the rise, with most cases left unreported. The seriousness of these cases has forced Mendi Police Station Commander Peter Booker to deal with the issue. Booker says rape leads the stats for sexual offences.
Family Sexual Violence Unit is one of the units that is really needed in the station, where we have so many crimes, rape and...
Commander Booker says the FSV unit will be an impact project to most families for counselling, recovery and legal guidance. The law and justice sector has approved the construction of the Family and Sexual Violence Unit in Mendi. Local company Camelec Construction will construct the new building within the Mendi Police Station.
I will have 6 policemen and women in the building. Thank the law and justice. They told me that they will provide all the computers, all facilities that is needed.
The Mendi PSC is confident the FSV unit will be a safe house for neglected sexual violence victims and families that have been suffering over the years.
Meanwhile, the marijuana uproot and Ombru surrender in Mendi Munyu district is into its third week with great assistance by youths and leaders in communities. Jack Lapave Jr. National MTV News.
Teachers around the country are preparing for the 2015 academic year. For one school in NCD, Sacred Heart Primary, teachers have signed their summary resumption form to recommence official duties. Headmaster Pokato Litau said his teachers will prepare themselves this week before the school resumes by February 2nd. NTV's Eric Haruma has this report.
Competition in education is very high at this moment.
Sacred Heart Catholic Primary School Headmaster Pokato Litau said, like other primary schools in the country, it is expecting more students enrollment this year due to the free tuition fee education. Teachers have signed their summary resumption duty form today as a formal document to officially resume their duties.
Our teachers, they must arrive today. First day of the week for resumption is very important, and they'll have to fill in the ADB 23s and the summary sheet for their resumption.
Sacred Heart Catholic Primary School will have an intake of about 2,500 students. 1,500 will be attending primary level from grades 3 to 8, while the rest 500 students will be attending its elementary school. This level 7 school has 40 staff who will be teaching this year. Last year, the school has performed well, and this year, 100 students are selected to do grade 9 in various secondary schools in Port Moresby.
Because of the academic performance is a bit better. We couldn't say we are very good, but it's a bit better. And then this is one of the added advantage to us.
Thanks to Prime Minister's office for assisting with some cases, which saw the completion of a new classroom and 2 vehicles being bought. This is a major boost for the school in terms of students' learning and success.
It's going to be a year of implementation. And with that I mean whatever we have planned for in 2014 will now be carried forward.
Meanwhile, the school administration has plans for more infrastructure development to cater for increased students' capacity. Eric Aruma, National MTV News.
On a similar note, teachers in Morobe are getting ready for the 2015 academic year as well. The Teachers in Service in the country has begun. With Morobe's teachers preparing learning materials and school planners for their students, the 2015 academic year is expected to be very busy. Lay secondary school teachers in Morobe are expecting good behavior from their students.
A week from now, the 2015 academic year in the country is expected to commence, with the primary and secondary school teachers in service program running for this week. Teachers in Lay have high expectations of good behavior from students. This comes after a series of school fights over the last 2 years. Teachers and principals will continue to ensure students are disciplined and that teachers will continue their duties without any disruptions from students' misbehaviors. The Lay Secondary School in Morobe plans to see good changes in students' behaviors through the school's zero-tolerance policies. School fights disrupted learning over the years.
This year also that the zero-tolerance policy will be effectively applied on students.
This year, Mr. Raymond says, the school's zero-tolerance policy will still apply and students who fail to follow the rules will be removed from school.
Indication, if the parents do sign the forms when they fill in, that should anyone step outside of the zero-tolerance policy, we have no choice but for the kid to be.
The zero-tolerance policy from Lay Secondary School is similar to that of the Morobe Provincial Education Board's solutions for school fights in Lay City. Colleen Barilai, National MTV News, Lay.
Trukai Sports is coming up next. We'll have news on hockey, soccer and rugby league. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. As a good lead into the Pacific Games, the national hockey team competed at the Oceania Pacific Cup and Round 1 of the World Hockey League in Fiji recently. Team PNG finished with a silver medal in Round 1 of the World Hockey League and missed out on the bronze in the Oceania Pacific Cup. Following their performance in Fiji, the PNG hockey squad is looking forward to a number of lead-up training camps on the Gold Coast. Their main focus is just on fitness due to the availability of training facilities which are currently undergoing construction for the Pacific Games. Lae City Dwellers Football Club is now becoming a team to look out for in the 2015 National Soccer League. The Lae boys missed out on a huge winning margin on Saturday, but are optimistic to do better in the coming games. EMTV's Silva Sagawi talked to Lae City Dwellers coach Peter Gunemba.
Lae City Dwellers is a team that has a cluster of talents that is expected to reclaim lost pride of soccer in Morobe province. It is made up of young players from the Lae Football Association and other senior players who have been the cream of soccer in Papua New Guinea. The team is led by former Ekari strikers Nigel Dabinjaba and Raymond Gunemba, and former Morobe United and PNG International Valentine Nelson. For coach Peter Gunemba, he was impressed with his boys' performance in the first game on Saturday.
Actually, we play 5 players who have not been playing before now. Long game, it must be FCM or only plenty experience. Only seems now one touch ball, now one but in speed now one me believe was me play that. But we can tell some unfortunate was we could have win by a bigger margin.
In the 1980s, Morobe has held on to the reins as the champions in national soccer championships. However, in the last decade, this has significantly dropped. Since the inception of the National Soccer League, Morobe teams have not been performing to expectations. Lae City Dwellers is a team that brings back some of Morobe's top players together to raise the level of competency among the new players.
As we go, we will see our mistakes and correct and we'll train and get better.
The 2-2 draw with an experienced FC Pom on Saturday has also highlighted areas of improvement for the team.
It's a good result. In the next game, we'll improve from there.
The Lae boys will be hard at training this week, ahead of the round 2 encounter against Medang FC in Medang on Saturday. Sylvester Gawi, National EMTV Sports, Lae.
To Rugby League, Gary Lowe's return has struck controversy and uncertainty on his return into the SB-PNG Hunters. In a media statement today, PNG Rugby Football League Chief Executive Officer Brad Tassel clarified Gary Lowe was not invited back to PNG by the SB-PNG Hunters coaching or management staff to resume a playing contract. Should Gary wish to secure a return to the SB-PNG Hunters, he must abide by the club's policy by playing in the Digicel Cup competition, where his performance and attitude will be reassessed for selection into the Hunters side. Tassel has urged all SB-PNG Hunters players to seek advice before making plans to go abroad. And True Crime Sports continues. Nigel Genia, brother of Will, makes a break in the European League. I'll bring you all the details after the break. Stay tuned.
True Crime Sports.
Welcome back to True Crime Sports. Well, brother of Australian Wallaby scrum half Will Genia, Nigel, has secured a contract with Bayer Rugby Club, the national champion club in Romania. Nigel has been playing semi-professional football in Australia and has represented PNG as a junior pukpuk at the Junior World Trophy Challenge in 2009. Now, Nigel has finally broken into the international rugby circuit and is looking forward to the challenge of playing in the European League. In preparation for their big break into the World Series 7 circuit, the SB Export 7s team have just returned from Fiji and will head straight into their final week of camp in Port Moresby. This week, the team will be finalised and announced to travel to Wellington for the HSBC Wellington 7s. And that's a take on our True Crime Sports segment tonight. The weather details for the next 24 hours coming up next.
Crime Sports. True Crime Sports.
The information is brought to you by Tablebirds.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region, mostly fine expected in the nation's capital. Few showers, however, expected in Daru and Karama. Fine weather in Alutau and Popondetta. In Momasa, mostly fine expected in Lane City, evening showers in Madang, cloudy periods with patchy rain in Wewak, and a few showers expected in Vanimore. In the New Guinea Islands, brief showers for Lorengau, showers and thunderstorms expected in Buka, and evening showers for Kavieng, Rabaul and Kimbe. In the Highlands region, all centres, evening showers, then morning fog. Forecast for small ships. There is a strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of the southern PNG-Indonesian border through Torres Straits and Daro to Kiwai Island, Kerama, Yule Island, Hood Point, through to Samarai Island and all Milne Bay Islands. Also, please be aware wind gusts can be further than 40% stronger than the average given here, and maximum waves may be up to twice the height. Looking at waters of southern PNG-Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daro to Kiwai Island, Kerama, Yule Island through to Hood Point to Samarai Island, seas of 2 meters to 2.5 meters. Waters of Samarai Island through to Cape Vogel, Wasu Point, Finschhafen and eastern western Milne Bay Islands, seas of 0.1 meters to 2 meters. Waters of Finschhafen including Vitia Strait, Siasi Islands, Long Island, Madang and West New Britain, seas of 1 meter to 2 meters. And lastly, waters of Madang, Bogia, Wewak through to Aitape, Vanimore and the northern PNG-Indonesian border, seas of 1.5 meters to 2 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas, coral seas, seas rough with northwest winds at 20 to 34 knots. Solomon Sea, seas moderate to patches of rough with northwest winds at 15 to 25 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas slight to moderate with northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots with gusts reaching 34 knots at times. And lastly, Pacific Ocean, seas slight to moderate with northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. Before we go, as always, quickly recapping our main stories again tonight. Police Commissioner Jeffrey Vaki says investigations will begin into the killing of Hanobada youths. Also, public outcry on social media following the assault on a group of women by police, and Chief Secretary Manasupe Zurinur to convene a special meeting dealing with unruly behavior of policemen. Well, that's been National EMTV News tonight, beginning another working week. On behalf of the entire news crew, I'm Tokana Hasabi. Thanks for your company. You take care and stay safe. Good night.